So welcome to the Post 9/11 GI Bill program. My name is Ms. Gibbs, and I'm with the Education Service Office here at ARPC. If we do run out of time for questions to be answered at the end of this break, please feel free to submit a ticket to our education box within MyPERS. So today, we're just going to quickly go over what is the GI Bill, who is eligible, what are you going to receive, what kinds of training you can take, because that has changed over the years, how and where to apply. We're also going to talk about how many months of assistance you can receive and how long do you have to use them. And then how, or if you need a letter of certification for the VA, how to request that from our office. And then finally, the last part, we are going to talk about the eligibility to transfer any unused education benefits over to your dependents and how to do that transfer. And then we'll quickly cover the Yellow Ribbon Program. So the post 9/11 GI Bill is the only education benefit that is based solely upon qualifying service since 11 September 2001. There is no requirement for a corresponding reduction in pay to participate in the program. Generally, to be eligible for the program, you must serve a period ranging from 90 days to 36 months or more of active duty service. Or if you were discharged due to a service-connected disability, at least 30 continuous days of active duty service. Now, when you're ready to use your post 9/11 GI Bills, you do have to contact the VA and complete a VA Form 22-1990. And you'll see that on the slides later on. The big distinction is the VA actually administers the post 9/11 GI Bill. We help you qualify for the post 9/11 GI Bill. So if you have questions about your post 9/11 GI Bill, more than likely you will have to contact the VA since they are the actual administrators. Now, there are some eligibility exclusions for qualifying for the post 9/11. The following periods of active duty service do not qualify. So all service completed on or before 10 September 2001. So all RegAF service completed on or before 10 September 2001 does not count towards the post 9/11 GI Bill, hence the name post 9/11 GI Bill. For my enlisted folks out there, your basic training, your IADT, and your annual tours do not count. And then for my officers, the active duty service commitment for commissioning from a service academy and or from the ROTC, that active duty service commitment for those two also do not count towards your post 9/11 GI Bill. So basically, this is a whole different program from the Montgomery GI Bill that you may have paid into back when you were on active duty. And it's also a different program than the Montgomery GI Bill Select Reserve. And I'm going to go over a little bit later what happens if you qualify for more than one program. If you paid into the Montgomery GI Bill, but you're also qualified for the post 9/11. Another note is the post 9/11 GI Bill is the only GI Bill that you may transfer over to your dependents. And towards the end, we'll go over that process. So this is what it pays for. So you have your tuition and fees, and they are capped at the most expensive public institution. That does not mean you cannot attend a private institution. It just means that the post 9/11 will take a look at the most expensive public institution and will only pay you the tuition and fees capped out at that rate. You will also receive a housing allowance at the rate of E5 in the location of the school. And you're also going to receive a book stipend up to $1,000. An important note about the housing allowance: it's no longer at the rate of the main campus. It is now based upon the location of the campus where a majority of the classes are being taken. So this was a fairly recent change for the post 9/11. So here's the kinds of training that it can be used for. It can be used for your training at colleges and universities. It may pay also for a second master's or a PhD, but that is something you would have to gain permission from the VA. It will pay for your trade schools, flight training, distance learning, apprenticeship, vocational. And a good thing, now it will pay for on-the-job training for anyone that is going to apply for a union position. And it can also help out with tuition assistance. It's not a tuition assistance top-up. You cannot have both post 9/11 and tuition assistance for the same class, but you can, during an example for the same semester, have one class paid for by post 9/11 and another class paid for by tuition assistance. It will also cover licensing if you need to go and apply for a cosmetology license, for example, and it will also pay for your certification tests. So again, who is eligible? As I touched on before, you do have to have a minimum of 90 days of active duty service since 11 September. And then for all my folks who are National Guard or were prior National Guard, only your Title 10 orders and your Title 32 orders, 502Fs, qualify. And for those 502Fs, those are only for the purpose of an AGR tour or presidential call-up only. Bottom line, it comes down to federally funded. Only orders that are federally funded are eligible for the post 9/11 GI Bill. And again, if my National Guard folks out there, if you have any questions about your orders, are they federally funded, state funded, feel free to submit a question through our MyPERS on your ticket. We'll be more than happy to take a look at those orders and let you know if they are eligible or not. For the VA, to determine what you're eligible for under the post 9/11, you're going to need a letter of certification from our office to provide to the VA if you have less than 3 years of active duty service, and especially if parts of that service are not covered in a DD 214, which is quite common for the reserves. So as you can see here on this slide, you can see how the benefit is earned based upon the number of qualifying active duty days. A nice thing is if your last period of active duty was before 1 January 2013, a note, you only have 15 years to use it. If your last active duty day was after 1 January 2013, that time limit has been removed. So let's go up to that very first bullet on this slide. What happens if you're eligible for one or more programs? This is where it starts to get a little tricky. So, but I'm going to give you some little bit of general information. So if you are eligible for both the post 9/11 GI Bill and any other VA educational assistance program, you may still elect to receive educational assistance under the post 9/11 GI Bill. Now, if you have already exhausted your other educational benefits, you may qualify for an additional 12 months of benefits under the post 9/11. And if you have some unused entitlements under another program, you can convert them over to a post 9/11. However, the method and process of making that election to use your post 9/11 GI Bill benefits will be determined by the VA. Our office is not part of that particular process. So, but be aware, if you wish to make an election to convert any unused entitlement from, example, your Montgomery GI Bill over to the post 9/11 GI Bill and receive a refund of your money paid into the program, be aware that that decision is irreversible and is completely governed by the VA. So please assess your educational goals to determine what works best for you. So what am I talking about? So here's an example. An airman who used 25 months out of their 36 months of Montgomery GI Bill, you can convert those 11 months of remaining benefits over to the post 9/11 GI Bill, but you're only able to use 36 months total. Alternatively, if you have those 11 months left of the Montgomery GI Bill, you may choose to exhaust those benefits and then apply for the extra 12 months of benefits under the post 9/11. That's where the 48 months comes into play. I get a lot of questions about the 48 months, and folks think that they are entitled, they get it the entire 48 months. but you do have to exhaust all of your other benefits before. So how do you apply if you need a letter of certification? So what the letter of certification does for you, it eliminates the need to submit the orders or the DD-214s if you have less than 3 years of active duty service. And our office will provide you with that letter of certification. Before you request a letter of certification from our office, please review your points credit and make sure all of your points are correct. And then have those corrected before you apply for a letter of certification. Because when we put together a letter of certification for you, we are looking at your points to see what qualifies and what does not. And then for the Air National Guard folks, please take a look at your orders and see, are they federally funded or state funded? And see if those are enough to qualify you for the 90 days. Then you can log into your MyPERS account to request a letter of certification. So in MyPERS, you can go onto your VPC dashboard, and the link to the LOC is under the action request, which is under your official military personnel record. And then if you go all the way to the bottom, we are the very last link in there. And then you can go ahead and request your letter of certification. So after you receive your letter of certification and you're ready to start at an educational institution, you will need to go on to the VA at that website listed on the slide, and you're going to complete the VA Form 22-1990. You will attach your letter of certification to your application along with any other supporting documentation. You can attach up to 5 documents on that. And then after you submit your application, please contact your certifying official at the school once you submit your form. So here, there's some helpful tools for you that are on the VA website. If you want to see school tuition rates and start comparing them, you can start comparing housing allowances. You can also see if your school participates in the Yellow Ribbon program. You can go ahead and visit the GI Bill comparison tool at the VA website. Now, once you are 100% eligible for the post 9/11, you can qualify for the Yellow Ribbon program. And that Yellow Ribbon program may provide additional financial support to help you pay for out-of-state fees, private school, graduate school tuition, and maybe some other items that the post 9/11 GI Bill will not cover. However, your school must be in the Yellow Ribbon program for you to take part in this program. And again, you need to go on, see if your school participates in the Yellow program, and then talk to the VA about what you wish to have paid for this. Okay, as I mentioned before, the post 9/11 GI Bill is the only program which you are allowed to transfer to your dependents. Now, when you apply to transfer the benefit, you will incur a 4-year service commitment. And then before you apply, you must have a minimum of 6 satisfactory years of service after 10 September 01. However, they do not have to be concurrent. You just have to have a minimum of 6 satisfactory years. Now, if you transfer your benefits over to your spouse, they can use that benefit right away. However, your children cannot use the benefit until after you have 10 years of satisfactory service. Another important note is you must be participating in the Select Reserve and stay in the Select Reserve for your entire service commitment. You must be in that drilling for pay status. If you're drilling for points, that does not allow you to transfer your post 9/11. You have to be in that Select Reserve status. Okay, so when you're applying, it has some multiple steps. So when you apply to transfer, first, of course, you have to make sure you're eligible for the post 9/11 GI Bill. If you're not eligible for it, you can't transfer it. Please verify that you have at least 6 years of service, and verify that you have 4 years of retainability and that you're willing to stay in for 4 more years. Then you go on to MilConnect to apply for the transfer of education benefits, and you can see that website up on the slide. An important note: applying for a transfer of education benefits a week before you need it is a little bit too late. Our office handles the TEB requests for the entire Air Reserve. We have one technician that handles all of these requests. And for your letter of certification, the same thing applies. Please do not wait a week before you need it to request it. We have one technician and another technician in training, and we actually handle the LOC requests for the entire Air Reserve and the entire Air National Guard. Which brings me to another point. For the Air National Guard, they do have their own TEB office. And so the Air National Guard handles their own TEB requests, but we handle letters of certification for both the Reserve and the Air National Guard. Another very important note: if you are going through the TEB application process and you transfer components, please let your gaining component know if you still have a TEB application waiting to be approved by your old component. If you do not let the gaining component know, the TEB application will still sit there under your old component and it will never be actioned because your old component will not be able to action it and the new one will not know it's out there. So you must let the gaining component know that you still have a pending TEB application out there. I see this a lot for the Air National Guard that comes over into the Air Force Reserve. If you do not let our office know that you have a pending TEB application, we do not know. And once we know, we can have it transferred over and then we can verify your eligibility and action it. Here's some important notes for transferring your benefits to your children. They must be listed in DEERS in order to transfer. At 21 years of age, your dependent will fall out of DEERS if not in a full-time degree-seeking program. And your dependents can receive the benefit up to their 23rd birthday and can use it until their 26th birthday. So you can apply to transfer your unused education benefits to your dependents up to the day prior to their 23rd birthday. If you wait until they're 23 and try to transfer the benefits, it's too late. You have to do it before their 23rd birthday. And a dependent marriage is not going to affect their benefits. So your dependent can still get married and they can still receive the benefits. While you are participating in the Select Reserve, you can revoke, modify, and make any additional dependents eligible. So if you are still participating in the Select Reserve and you have a new baby, as soon as that new baby is added to DEERS, you can go into MilConnect and transfer some months over to that new baby. Now, after you leave the participating status, you cannot add a dependent. So after you separate or retire and you have a baby, you cannot add a dependent to your TEB benefits. And again, you do have to be participating in the Select Reserve in order to be eligible to transfer. Another important note: please give all of your dependents at least 1 month. Even if you don't like them, please give them at least 1 month, because after you leave the Select Reserve, you cannot add any months to them if you never gave them any before you left. So here's some information for you. There's the VA website where you can find the forms. If you decide to transfer benefits, there's the website for the MilConnect, and you can also call the VA. We do have the 1-800 number up there, or if you have any questions, you can call our Total Force Service Center, and then they will forward a ticket over to our office, or you can submit a ticket directly to our office. So with that, that concludes this briefing. Thank you very much. And the floor is now open for any questions. I tried to go a little bit faster so we wouldn't go over. I hope we're not that much over. Thank you.
All right, so far I only see one question in the queue for you, Miss Gibbs. The question is, to receive 48 months of post 9/11, you have to be eligible for the Montgomery GI Bill and the post 9/11 GI Bill. Do you have to be eligible for both to receive that benefit?
You have to be eligible for one or more educational benefits because you have to exhaust the initial one first, and then you can apply for 12 months additional under the post 9/11. So if you paid for the Montgomery GI Bill and you have to exhaust that one before you can get the additional 12 months under the post 9/11. Or if you want to get a refund of some of your money that you paid into the Montgomery GI Bill, you can convert your unused benefits over to the post 9/11 and receive a refund of those monies, but you're only eligible for 36 months. So that's why I was saying you really have to assess your educational goals to find out what works best for you.
All right, we have another question in there. If you retire, does the dependent still have until 26 years of age to use the benefits?
As long as you transferred everything over to them before you retired, yes. So just make sure that every dependent has at least 1 month. So, and then they have up until they're 26 to start using the benefit.
All right. I have another question from Senior Master Sergeant Jamie Pope. I was told by peers to only transfer 1 month per dependent and not load more because all of the allotment you transfer will be used at once. So to maximize benefits to dependents, transfer 1 month at a time. Is there truth to this?
You can transfer as many months as you want to your dependents, and as long as they have 1 month, you can go in and let's say you gave one dependent 12 months and you gave another dependent 20 months. Well, then your dependent you gave 20 months to receives a scholarship. They don't need the benefit anymore. You can go in and transfer those 20 months back over to the dependent that you only gave the 11 months to. So as long as each dependent has at least 1 month, you can play around with a number of months. It's just if you retire or separate without giving them any months, then that's where they are no longer eligible. But no, I mean, you can give each dependent as many months as you want, up to 36 months spread out among all your dependents. I gave my son 35 months, the one that's getting ready to go to college. I gave the other one 1 month. Well, my oldest son now joined the National Guard and he's going to be deployed. So he's going to have more than enough educational benefits. He does not need mine. So now I'm going to go back in and transfer those months back to my little one.
And I'm going to wait a couple more seconds to see if we have any more questions. So, okay, I have one more that popped up. So this one is from Yashi Rich. I have exhausted all of my post 9/11 GI Bill benefits, and I am not eligible for the Montgomery Bill. Is my only other option TA?
Yes, I would say so.
And hanging on for a couple more seconds to see if we have any more questions. Here's another one from Tech Sergeant Munoz. What if you qualified for the post 9/11 upon entering your service, but in BMT you have signed a form and they deduct money from your pay for the Montgomery GI Bill, but you are elected to use post 9/11? Are you able to get a reimbursement from the Montgomery GI Bill?
Yes, you can. And so again, that would be something you have to go through the VA to get that reimbursement. But please be aware that once you do that, it's irreversible. You will never be able to use your Montgomery GI Bill again. So you do have to assess if you've already paid all of your money into the Montgomery GI Bill. If you exhaust that benefit, then you may qualify for another 12 months under the post 9/11. And so conceivably, you could receive 48 months of benefits versus 36. But again, you have to assess your educational goals to see what works for you.
All right, holding tight for a couple more seconds to see if we have any last minute questions. All right, I think we are all set with this brief. Thank you, Ms. Gibbs.
Thank you.
Questions are closed.